Well, a happy new year, everyone. We are delighted that you're joining. Oh, first day with my new mouth. Let's start it off the year properly. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Act Three. It's always great to be with you. We're really delighted that you've tuned in. On today's program, I have a recurring guest. Peter Hudson is here with us today, and we really look forward to breaking open some cool things that he's been doing in our neighborhood. Hey, Peter, how are you?
Great, Kathy. How are you doing? It's nice to see you.
It's always really good to see you. I started the year off already with mumbo jumbo. First of all, it's afternoon, not morning. Second,
Oh,
second of all, this is the first program for the new year for me, and I think that I've got marbles in my mouth. Has that ever happened to you when you've either been entertaining our community or you've been out in the work that you're wonderfully doing in our community? How are
all
things
the
for
time.
you?
Oh yeah, all the time. I've stuttered a lot, and when I'm on stage, I just make it funny. Try to make it funny.
Well, I'm not as funny as you are, so hopefully
Hmm.
you'll be able to make it funny all the way through. Peter, Peter, why don't you, for our community who may not know who you are, which I find hard to believe, but for those who may not know who you are, Peter, why don't you let people know who you are, what you do, and how things have been going in your world?
Okay, well, I'm Peter Hudson, and first and foremost, I'm a father to a beautiful little 6-year-old daughter. So that's my biggest accomplishment, I feel. And I am a mental health and addictions worker. I work here at the Detox in Clearview Detox here for Island Health in Nanaimo. And I am also a professional comedian and stand up and sketch and do all that stuff. So, and community advocate. So,
I'm really glad that you're the first program of the year, Peter, for lots of reasons. Number one, I'm so glad that you're the great father that you are. In being friends with you, I have witnessed firsthand the joy that you have with your beautiful daughter. And that I think being a dad in this environment is hard for a lot of people, because some people don't have access to the kids in the same way that you've been fortunate enough to do, right? So I just
100%.
kind of want to talk a little bit about that for a moment.
100%. I
Yeah.
was actually feeling sorry for myself. Uh, was because of my ex, I'm separated and I'm a single dad, and I was separated from my daughter, separated anyways, but I had my daughter from Christmas Eve all the way till the 29th, and I was super blessed. But before that, my ex partner had my daughter for 5 days before that, and it was during the holidays getting ready, and I was missing her, of course, but I was talking to a friend. I'm like, oh, I was having a bit of a pity party, and I was missing my daughter. And my friend's like, dude, he's like, some men don't even get to. He goes, you need to shut up. Like honestly, he goes, you need to shut the hell up. He goes, some men
Yeah.
don't even get to see their kids during Christmas. He goes, you get your daughter on Christmas Eve. You get your daughter for the prime days and for 2 years in a row. So
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
grateful. And when you do get that time with your daughter and you're separated, you get them half the time, right? I'm half and half, but you just make that time count.
Absolutely. And
You
she
be
is
present.
so happy. She is the
Thank you.
happiest little angel
She
pie.
really is.
She really
But
is.
I'm present,
Yeah.
and I'm in the moment with her, and I'll put things aside for her and just to be one on one with her, and just doing stuff with your kid. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to take them to Disneyland. Just go for a goddamn walk.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's so
Go for a
true.
walk to the lake.
Yeah.
I say they
And
just want to
kids,
be around you.
that's exactly it. Kids just want to be with their family. They just want to be with
100%.
I was also having a bit of a pity party because my grandchildren live very far away. They live in Fort McMurray. And
Yeah.
I'm blessed because we have Zoom, right? So
Yeah.
we're able to have that kind of conversation with our kids and
100%.
be with them and all of that stuff. It's not the same as hugging their little faces and,
No.
giving them kisses all over, but it certainly is something to be said for having the connection. And so I do know that a lot of fathers really struggle with not being able to see their kids. And I'm just
It's
so proud of the fact that when you are with your kids, you're so very present with your
Thank you. And
daughter.
we all have it in, and we all have it in us.
Yeah.
Mom, children need their fathers just like they need their mothers. There's something that each one brings to the table. It's just world synergy. You know what I mean? Like there's things that you need. You know what I mean? And to all the
Absolutely.
single parents out there, you're doing a good job, and
Yes.
you're busting your butt, whether you're female or male. You're busting your butts for your kids. Like hold your head high. You know what I mean? If you're
And
there's
make
that.
your kids first when you're able to, like
Oh,
when you're with your
100%.
kids, you know, for sure. It's really important that you give your 100%. Yeah.
Oh, totally, totally. And it's fun. It's fun learning. You're learning, they're not, I always said that you're not only teaching them, they're teaching you
So true.
how to be just like a good human being and like trap like and my daughter will call me right out. Yeah,
Really? What does she
sometimes I'll be
say?
biting. Oh, sometimes I'll be biting my tongue. I'll be like to yell, somebody will cut me off and I'll be like, Dad. She's like, Dad, be nice. She's got to be nice and be kind, Daddy. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
how
like, okay,
lovely.
honey. I'm like, I'll be nice and kind. you know?
I think that's amazing. I love that in her. She is
Yeah,
really very special. I know we're starting the show a little bit talking about your daughter, but one of the reasons is that I know that a lot of people who suffer from mental health and addiction specifically, many of them are not able to be with their families for any number of reasons. And
yes,
I'm just curious of whether or not this season, being the season, you know, has been more mild outside. There's been we have a very large unhoused population within our
yeah,
community. You know, I'm really curious what you're taking and how that family bond is affecting people. Are you seeing those people that are caught up in mental health and addiction really struggling to do with family?
100%. I see it all the time. It's where I work. I can't go too much into it for confidentiality reasons,
Of
but
course.
I see so many people in addictions that are doing well. They're fighting to get their kids back. Some of them haven't seen their kids for years and stuff. And first of all, you need to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not, it's great to do it and have that feel that I need my family back. But what happens when you do get them back if you're not healthy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to get healthy yourself. And you know what? All those things, if you work on yourself and you get healthy and you get clean, you get sober and you get help and mentally and everything, all those good things will come back into your life. It's inevitable. You know what I mean? It's inevitable. All those great things will come back in your life. You're going to lose all the bad stuff and bring in all the good stuff, you know?
Without throwing you under the bus, because I'm not that way, you know that, but you've experienced this yourself, haven't you? On one
Yes,
of our
yes.
previous
Oh,
programs, we talked about it. So
mhm.
I'd like to break it open again because on your last program, you know, we did talk a lot about coming out of it and how difficult it was and how, you know, it was one moment at a time, 1 second at a time as you were pushing through. You know, because you're now working in that field and you're experienced at it, are you now seeing like what does that look like for you as coming out of it, lived experience, and now in the field? Let's talk.
It's it's amazing. Like honestly, when I started I went to school, back to school at 45 years old, and I got into the field, and I for somehow landed back with Island Health or landed and Clearview, where I had actually gone to detox twice there. The last time I was in that
Wow.
building, I was a patient
Wow.
getting help. And then I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like working there, and it was just super surreal. But when I tell a person there or something, hey man, I go, I've been here twice. I can actually watch people physically change. They can watch their
Yes.
body language, they get comfortable. They're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I've gone to treatment. I've been through tests. I'm an open book, man. I am proud of my accomplishments, and
Me too.
I consider myself a success story. And you know what? We're always going to go through trauma. I'm always fighting my addiction and my mental health for the rest of my life. But I know that the biggest thing is that I know that I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to
Yeah.
think about using. I'm going to be depressed some days. But the biggest thing is having those tools to deal with it
Yeah.
and be sniper ready. We got to be sniper ready. Our parents are going to die. Our animals are going to die. People are going to leave us. there's a chance our children, I hate to say it, but there's a chance our children could pass away before us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have, and those are reasons to make us go to swirl. You know what I mean? Or sexual abuse or whatever, mental abuse. But you have to be sniper ready for stuff to happen. Because it's
Yeah.
going to happen. Like last time, and then before I even talked to you,
Mm.
I went through a separation just right around about the time we talked. I went through a separation. I lost my best friend, like my brother, and my dog died all within 2 months. It was like a horrible country song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It was like a new age country song. And the doctor, I went to the doctor. I was depressed, and this is just within the last couple of years. And I was, I thank God, I'm knock on wood, I didn't use or drink or anything. I went to the doctor and they gave me a prescription for antidepressants. Like, you're clinically depressed. Wrote me off like a cheeseburger. There's your antidepressants. And you know what? I was walking to the drugstore and I was like, I might need these, but I'm not trying everything else before I need these to actually do like the work. And you know what I mean? It's almost an easy out. And I might need them. And I still might need them in the future. But I crumpled them up. I threw them in the garbage. And I said, because I knew I could get another one. And that day I started cold water dipping, cold water therapy. I started going to men's meetings. I booked a trauma counselor. I started going to the gym. I started eating right. I started going back to meetings and connecting with people. And I made the moves. And thank God yet, I still haven't I've gone on those antidepressants yet.
Antidepressants have a place for some people.
100%.
But I totally agree with you. What other options, are there? Cold water dipping. I remember watching you on Facebook, and I remember you posting some of those. Holy crap. I mean, I was definitely shivering in all kinds of places just thinking about you getting into that cold water. But
100%.
It's so wonderful for you.
It's just, well, what it is, I was watching Wim Hof, my friend, my Indigenous friend. Mm-hmm. He knew I was in a bad spot, and he's like, hey, he goes, meet me down at Departure Bay. He goes, 12 o'clock, I'm taking lunch off. We're going to go jump in the water. And I'm like, hell no. I'm like, that sounds absolutely horrible. And then I went down there, and it flicked something in me. And he told me like the Indigenous people have been doing it for thousands of years. And then I watched this dude named Wim Hof. I don't know if you ever heard of Wim Hof. No. He's this dude from Europe, and he's got the coolest voice. He's like, okay, now we breathe now. He's got this cool accent anyways. And his wife, he had 4 children, young children, and his wife took her own life.
Oh my God. And
instead of wallowing in his crap and marinating, like that's what we'll do, we'll self-load. He started, they call him the Iceman. He swims under ice. But he started cold water therapy and teaching people how to do this and being your best. And what it does, it's a natural anti-anxiety, natural antidepressant, natural ibuprofen, builds your immune system, and you just feel amazing. So that was just part of it. It's all, I put a bunch of pieces of the puzzle together.
Sure. That's one piece of it. Absolutely. And I think therapy is really important. I think talking to somebody about what's going on and putting life to it by saying it out loud. The stories we tell ourselves can be downright difficult, like downright depressing just in the stories we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that you were telling yourself some untruths?
Yeah. Well, lots of untruths, and I didn't really know where things, like why I was the reason I am, because obviously relationships aren't working out, my marriage and everything, and relationships and things, and addiction and mental health issues. Obviously, there's something wrong, and sometimes, there's no real fix to something. Like, hey, okay, I can't. It's happened, so you're done. There's no fix to it. But just knowing the root of it and where it came from. Like I found it the other day, going through your family tree and finding out where it's just knowing it and knowing it wasn't your fault.
Yes, very, very important.
Is super powerful. And just saying, hey, you know what I mean? Now I can move on. I know what's wrong. I can write out a resentment to that person, I don't even have to tell them. I can just read it out, burn it, throw it in the river, and you're feeling better, you know?
Actually, let's talk a little about that because I love that. First of all, I love the idea of writing something out as a thought pattern, where that especially one that's destructive. In all fairness, every single person on the planet goes through moments in their life where they feel hurt, or they are feel slighted by another person, or they feel a little bit beaten down. And I'm no exception. I know that we all have it. And recently I went through something that really it was like, okay, I believe in the knock on the door for the lesson, and then knock a little harder, and then knock a little harder, and then the bang and the bang and the bang. But you
Mhm.
get tired of it being the same story coming through other people, right? When you're looking at family of origin stuff, eventually it comes from your family of origin, that there was a piece there, but you're doing the work, and then wacko bammo,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like, for me, that's been my truth. And so I go back and I try to process it. And it takes less and less time now. It used to be something that would paralyze me for weeks and months at a time.
Yeah,
Now it
100%.
paralyzes me for 15 minutes, maybe
Good.
not, but you know what I mean? Like a much shorter period of time. So I know that the tools are there to work. And so this is a really good tool to be able to write something out. And like, so what is the process? Let's talk about that.
Well, I've only done it like twice now, but I write something out, how I'm feeling, that
Yeah.
emotion to that person, to maybe to a person that's hurt me,
Yeah.
both times to a person that's hurt me.
And
And
they don't even know about it, right? They
no,
don't know.
no,
Do they?
no, no,
Do you?
no, they don't. You don't. Well, for me, then I'll get into it with my parents. I do love my parents, and they did try their best, but it's like my mom's 83 years old, my dad's
Yeah.
79, and like if I tell them stuff like that's really, they could have, my dad could have a heart attack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no
Totally.
use.
Like,
It's lived his life. There's no use for a
what's the
person.
purpose? Exactly.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the purpose to hurt him? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but to know that it's hurt you and to write it out and tell somebody, I usually tell somebody that I do um trust
Yeah.
and love, and one of my good friends, and I'll read it out to them, and then I'll light it up and I'll put it in the water and let the water take it away. And
And let the water
what
take it
that
away.
what that is just giving yourself a mental closure of this the whole process, that I
Yes.
wrote this out, something that first of all, it's something that really hurt me. I wrote this out, I read it to somebody. It's a ritual, you
Yeah.
know, and then I lit it up to get rid of it and closure, and then toss it off in the water and it flows away. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the closure piece of it. I feel that that's so important. And if the door opens again, it's a different conversation when it opens. It's not necessarily triggering in the same way.
Totally. And I got somebody that's like, and it's the same thing with like our, even though like I have a friend, someone that's very close to me that's gone through some sexual stuff, and just even just like going, sure, you want that person, especially when it's a young person, you want to hurt that person
You
physically.
do. Yeah.
Like, you
No,
know what I mean? Like
totally.
you want it,
Yeah.
like, anyways, we won't
Yeah.
even put on
No,
those
no.
vibes. But yeah, you want to
Yeah.
get rid of them.
Yeah.
And, but for them to go through a judicial system and have a court be like, hey, you know what, you're wrong, and for them to see that, that's closure too. In a way, you'll never get your life back, but they need to see, especially when it's a young kid, that this was
Yeah.
wrong. This person's gonna pay for this, for what he
Yeah.
did to you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think there are so many things that happen to individuals, right? Um, and surviving some really difficult things. And certainly sexual abuse is one of the big ones, right? And
yeah.
many people get lost in mental health because they've got unfinished business and no closure that goes with some
Yeah.
of these things. And I don't want to make light of that either. I don't want to just make it so easy that you can just write something down and throw it in the water and it'll be
No, you
gone.
can't. And
It's not like that.
no, and I've just dealt with it like last year. Two people that I really loved, cared about,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they had to go through a lot, and having nightmares, and still, and just
Yeah.
relationships. They can't have relationships, and
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking
it
because you love
is.
that person, you want to help them so much, but it's like, yeah, they have to go on their own journey. Really,
Yeah, you can be there to support, but it's a personal journey, isn't
it's
it?
a personal train, and I'm pretty sure I know the people that are strong, so they'll get there. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And strength looks different to everybody, doesn't it?
oh yeah, totally. People have different strengths too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My thing was, which is, but it can cover it up too. It's humor, of course, and I always cover things up with humor and make light. But it's been a curse and a gift. You know what I mean, in both aspects. So yeah.
I resonate with that so well. I do recognize that for many people, humor is what brings light to the pain. But at the
100%.
same time, as a comedian, the reason you're so successful is you're calling it as it is, and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
people get it, like it's like, oh crap, like I've been there. So when I mean, and you have a character. I love your character. Let's talk a little about your character and how that came to be.
About 5 to 10. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
5 to 10.
it's crazy. Like I could go all over the island. I was in the museum the other day in Victoria, and this guy's like 5 to 10, like all over in Vancouver. It's 5 Korean dudes. We're like 5 to 10. Like it was so crazy. Like it. So it's 5 to 10 is this character I came up with. I had my daughter in 2017, and I was feeling really inspired. And I was like, man, if I can make something this beautiful out of my ugly balls, I can do anything. I'm just kidding. but anyways, I created in 2018, I created this character, and that just of an accumulation of people from the Nanaimo that I've seen or grown up with. And this guy's just, he just got out of jail. His name's Stu, and he's like kind of like the village idiot. He's just like, do it, you know what I mean? And he has an oversized teardrop and neck tattoo that says 5 to 10, and missing tooth, and bike chain around his neck says bro all the time, straight out of Harwood t-shirt. And yeah, no, it was just a way to create. We just wanted to create some stuff. I've always found that I love stand-up comedy, but I've always loved like sketch comedy and Saturday Night Live, and we
Yeah.
made parody songs. I loved Weird Al Yankovic, so we made a bunch of parody songs and made an album. And especially during COVID, I wasn't performing, so we started. My friends like, well, we made five episodes that went really well, and then after during COVID, my friends like, you should go on TikTok, man. It's such a great way
Absolutely.
to create and put this up. So I started doing TikToks and pretended to run for mayor, and and
I
opened up.
remember that. I was like 5'10". What are you doing running for mail? Like, what do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. They were
It,
playing that. They
it
were
was
playing that
great.
on, yeah, they were playing that on radio stations in Vancouver. They're like, can you hear this? Like it was going across the world. And just stuff that was happening downtown Nanaimo, and making a fake cocaine dispensary. Just stupid, complete idiocy. But man,
Yes.
people just, man, like I go to like every teenager in Nanaimo knows who I am.
Yeah.
They'll like scream as I drive by, and I've connected. I went to the high school last year. I was the most sought after person that they wanted at their assembly out of the whole city, more than the mayor, everything. So
Really?
yeah, so I went in there and
Wow.
they just went nuts. And so yeah, no, it was great. And we've taken a few months off because I've gone back into touring and stuff with my stand up. But this we're writing again. We got some really funny stuff coming up.
Very cool.
Round
So,
round three.
so how do people see your episodes of the 5'10"? Is it on YouTube
It
or
was
do
on
you
YouTube under 5 to 10 bro on YouTube, and then I have yeah, that's one, and then I have uh 4 music videos on there that I made.
Oh, wow.
I made parodies. I don't know if you saw the
I
plexiglass.
haven't actually. That's super exciting. And so of course, this is when this is finished its broadcast, it's available on YouTube. It's also
Mhm.
available on iHeartRadio and Spotify
Cool.
and my other spots. But what I think is really interesting about this is that I can link to your
Cool.
other pieces on
Oh yeah.
YouTube so that people can have a proper look at it. Unfortunately, we just don't have the capacity to be able to do it on my Zoom radio
Oh no,
call.
that'd be
So
cool.
apologies,
No,
but I'll happily do it there. Hmm.
no, it was funny. We were at we I just started it was I'd always love parody songs. I love Weird Al, and
Yeah,
me and my friends would always make our own songs out of songs.
yeah,
So I was working at it was during COVID,
yeah.
and I was working at Costco at the time, and and plexiglass started going up everywhere.
Yes,
Started
yes.
going up everywhere, and so just to keep myself sane, I was packing groceries or doing whatever to keep myself sane. You know that song "Sexy" back
Oh
from
yeah, yeah.
I'm bringing in sexy. Well, I rewrote it as I'm seeing plexiglass. I'm seeing plexiglass. People in public don't know how to act. So go and get your ugly face a mask. I think I heard they come in 50 packs like that. And I just kept, yeah, I just kept on writing it. And then I wrote it. And my friend's like, you got to do that as 5 to 10.
Yeah, totally.
So we went down,
Totally.
it was the middle of COVID. And we went down to Superette downtown in
Yes.
Imo. And they just gave, this is the star power of 5 to 10. They just gave me the keys. They said, we'll be back in 3 hours. Have fun. And we recorded a video in
Unbelievable. I cannot wait to see it.
the
I'll
police, the
totally,
police came. Oh yeah, the police came by, and because there's more than like 5 of us there, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah.
we can't have like." I'm like, "Dude, we're recording a video, man." I'm like, "Please," like, he's like, "Okay, we'll just turn our other way." And
They let you
we
get away
almost
with
got
it.
busted. We almost got busted for putting a music video together. So,
My goodness, that's
but it
hilarious.
was a lot of fun. And we, you know what? During like a lot of people told me during COVID, they're like, "You were just what we needed. We needed to be
Yeah.
able to laugh at absolute stupidity."
Well, and it was such a poignant conversation. The scary part is that while COVID is over in the bigger fear of it all, it's rebirthing itself all over the country once again.
Yeah.
And we're, fortunately, we're not seeing it to the same level. How has it been for you since COVID in the way of your entertainment? Are you seeing, it must be, first of all, fabulous to be back in front of live
Oh,
audiences again, like that in itself.
yeah, it was. No, it's but and but it just made you so grateful. Like it was gone like so quick.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like gone all of a sudden. You're not performing, and I'm just like and any artist or performer like when you're not doing your thing, I
Yeah.
felt like I'm like oh I felt empty. It was
I bet you
funny
did.
right at the end
Yeah.
of COVID is when I got separated. So maybe that had something to do with it because I was just so like oh I would comedy and stuff. And I remember when it ended, I was actually the one that really hit me at that I was grateful. I was in McPherson Playhouse in Victoria. You know the
Hmm.
big theater there.
I know it well. Yep.
Yeah, with Kenny and Spenny, Kenny
Oh,
versus Spenny.
wow.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
friends, and I tour with them all the time. But
Wow.
I was sitting in the green room for their show. I was hosting it, and I was sitting with Kenny and Spenny and a bunch of just cool people and comedians and my buddy and just artists and just cool people. And we're all just sitting around laughing and enjoying company and just talking and stuff. I'm like, man, this is what I really missed. It wasn't just being on
Yeah.
the stage. It was those car rides to a show, sitting in a green room with a bunch of really cool people. You know what I mean? Talking with comedians after, going out writing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I
of
do.
course being on stage, but like all the things that surround us. Not always the destination, is the journey, right?
Yeah. 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 And I think that you're right. It's the entire experience that makes it. And so being part of that experience and then having that experience taken away through no fault of anyone. I mean, just one of those things. It gives
Totally.
you a new perspective on what's important to you. And what did you find to be the most important element of your comedian of the work that you were doing? Is it more than the laughter? Or was there messages that you were trying to get out there so that people could just calm themselves the hell down?
I just went full in. Honestly, I just went full into 5 to 10
Yes.
and just went so ridiculous and just filmed it and just went so into that and because
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I felt like the people needed to laugh.
Yeah.
And that was my way, that was my gift, that I could just go out with one buddy with a phone
Yeah.
and like touch that many people and go all over the world, super viral. Like one video we got like 60 million views around the world.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, we did this one. It was funny because I was downtown one time and I was saying, because I live downtown, and this dude walked by with a dryer on his back. And I'm like, dude, I go, what, are you okay? He's like, yeah, just going to the pawn shop. Like it was just another day at the office. Like it was just normal. But this guy had a dryer on his back. And I was like, my God. So I told my friend, he's like, we have to reenact that.
Yeah.
So we reenacted it and made it funny. And that, yeah, that video probably got about 60 million views around the world.
Incredible.
It
Incredible.
happened right downtown Nanaimo, so it was super funny.
How much has your comedy changed in the last few years?
A lot, because you know what, comedy it's art imitating life, and so my life's changed in the last few years, and I've gotten so much better on stage and kind of comfortable.
Mhm.
And
Oh, sure.
when my best friend Matt Dillon, the
Yes.
late Matt Dillon, God bless him, when he passed away, and he was my mentor and my best friend, and honestly the greatest comedian I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the best comedians in the world, like not just Canada, in the world. He was a world class comedian, and he did a lot of crowd work. And I never did a lot of crowd work. I never talked to crowd, but he was always good. He was good. His jokes were great, but he was crowd work was really great too, just
Yeah.
as good as his jokes. And I never did a lot of crowd work, but when he passed away, but he always told me how to do it, and like that. I was always enamored by how good he was and how quick he was. And
Yeah.
then when he passed away, for some reason, I started doing crowd work, and I
Yeah.
started putting a lot of crowd work into my show. Now I do a lot more interacting with the crowd and talking with people and enjoying it more. You know, and it's weird. It's almost like the ghost of Matt
Yeah.
Billings come into my soul. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not. I find that there's also things that I always grip this. It's like gripping the stick, hockey stick too tight, because I just took it so serious, like comedy writing, and it was so regimented
Sure.
and you know, I mean, oh, I have to have a great set and pound, which was it's great because it's made me like gotten me a lot of opportunity and great shows and got me to where I am, headlining across the country now. But
Yeah.
now,
I actually saw you opening for Chicago, which I was like, oh my God.
yeah,
Like when Chicago came to town. Was it Chicago that was in
no,
town this
no.
summer? It was, what's the band that was in town this summer that you
Oh,
opened
was
for?
it Trooper?
Trooper, not Chicago.
Yeah, Trooper.
Trooper. Thank
I
you.
did
My
the
apologies.
I did
Oh
the
my
first
God.
comedy. I did the first comedy at the bathtub weekend that they've ever had.
Yes.
So I'm going to host it
Yes.
next year.
That was fantastic. Loved it.
Thank you, thank you. So, but I've realized that things are so much more important
Yeah.
than comedy. Like my family, my relationships with people, life, my health. Like so many things are so much important, so more important that it's made my comedy better because I don't really care about it as much. Like I love it and care about it, but it's
Totally.
not my priority. So I've loosened up a bit, and I think that's where it's gotten better.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you hold on to stuff super, super tightly, it stops
Totally.
everything from growing and developing, right?
And, yeah, and we started a tour this year. I've actually started instead because I usually bring a lot of really great acts here. I've
Yeah.
always produced, but now I'm actually touring my own show and I'm investing in myself.
Good for you.
So I started a tour called the Deadbeat Dad Tour.
So I did see something on that on
Yeah,
Facebook. You need to open that, the Deadbeat Dad Tour, and I might even title this Deadbeat Dad
yeah.
on the YouTube station. So tell us like how did that come to be? Like I love
Um,
that.
so yeah, it's Deadbeat Dads and good dads talking shit. That's what we call it. So because we want to make sure everybody knows that we're not actually deadbeat dads,
No, of course not.
but so myself and a gentleman, a younger guy, really great comic from Victoria, Elliot Ryan. He's a
Mhm.
dad too, and
Yeah.
really grinding and super funny. And the headliner, anyways, we were just talking about it. I said, "Hey man, we should do something, a show together, like co-headline a show together, and do something to do with dads."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, like the deadbeat dad tour," and we just laughed. I'm like, exactly like that. Just something that's catchy. The name's catchy. Our art's catchy. If you see the two little cartoon guys,
Yeah.
and we did 5 shows before Christmas, and we sold all of them out. Did hecklers in Victoria, sold the Queens out, sold them all out. So we're like, okay, I think we got something here. So we're gonna try to do 40 shows this year across the country.
Holy mackerel, 40 shows.
Yeah,
When are you
30
going
to
to find
40
there's only
shows.
52 weeks? Holy
I
mackerel.
know, I know. We'll have to. Well, we're gonna do 2, 3 shows in a
Of course,
weekend.
of
So,
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
mm,
congratulations on that. And so where
thank
will
you.
the tour start?
So we're just gonna get the island done with, and we're doing Ucluelet, Tofino in February. We're going February, we're kind of taking January off, and we're doing Ucluelet, Tofino, 2 shows in Tofino in February and 9th and 10th, and then Port McNeil. Where else? Oh man, Parksville, Alert Bay. We're just kind of Courtney, Campbell River. We're just gonna keep them going down the island. So,
Everywhere.
and
Absolutely.
then we're gonna start hitting the mainland and doing and working our way across the country. I've headlined Yuck
Wow.
Yucks now, so like I have an in with them, and they're like they'll let us do all the Yuck Yucks across the country, and
Which is perfect. Yeah,
yeah, so
fantastic. Fantastic. This year sounds like it's going to be a tremendous year for you. I'm just going to take a moment here to do a quick station identification. When we get back,
sure.
we're going to talk about some more fabulous stuff that you're doing in our community and
Sounds
across the
good. Thank you
country.
very much.
So, if you have just tuned in, I'm delighted that you have. Most of the show is almost done completely, but not quite yet. We still have a little bit more time. If you tuned into Act 3, I'm Kathy Holmes. I'm delighted to be your host, and I'm excited about what's going to happen within our fabulous new year and to the many shows that are coming ahead with some brilliant guests. So, please make sure that you tune into CHLY 101.7 FM right here in beautiful downtown Nanaimo. There are some other things that are happening within our community. This is winter time, and we know that while we haven't seen an awful lot of snow, we have seen a lot of very cold temperatures. We have a very large population on Vancouver Island of people that are unhoused. I encourage you to please think about the people on the street at this time and see whether or not you have additional opportunity to help some of our people out. Of course, we always are looking for boots and coats and mittens and things to keep people warm. Just check out on the bottom of the YouTube page. I'll put some links for you to be able to make some donations if you would like to do that. But there's a lot of opportunity for us to be able to help the people that we care about the most. I also encourage you to really pay attention to the people that are in your personal life and make sure that they're doing okay too. What happens in the wintertime is we tend to sort of slow down and we go internal. And sometimes we forget because Christmas is over to reach out to some of the people in our neighborhood that are older and might need a little bit of extra assistance. So I encourage you, check out the people in the neighborhood, make sure everybody's doing okay, and keep tuning in to CHLY 101.7 FM. I also would like to tell you that we're about to refilm or film for the month of January our Act 3 on what was Shaw is now Rogers. We're excited. Peter Hudson will be our guest on the program. So stay tuned for that. Check us out on used to be Shaw Cable 4 is now Rogers Cable 4. So please do check us out. Check us out on our YouTube station, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, and just stay with us on Act 3. We're really glad to bring you some groovy stuff, as well as all the programs on CHLY 101.7. So I am happy to have Peter Hudson in the booth. He is one of my favorite people in Nanaimo. He makes me
Thank you.
laugh. He brings my heart goodness all the way around. I when we last did a recording, which was, in the middle of COVID, right? And we had talked about Matt and we talked about, you were going through some stuff back then, and so much wonderful stuff has happened since. But
Yes.
I also want to shout out to people that in January is not always, and Christmas is not always great for people. We started the top of the hour with, you were able to see your daughter, but lots of young men were not able to, or lots of men were not able to see their kids. Lots of women were not able to see their kids either. It's difficult when there's stuff going on in January. And it all comes down to grieving. There's a certain amount of grieving that happens.
Yeah.
I'm curious, I know not to open it up too much with Matt, or some of the other things that you've experienced, but you're a couple of years out now. What does
Yeah.
grieving feel like for you now? How are you still, how has it shifted? Is it
Yeah.
different? Let's talk a little about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. That's cliche that time heals
Feels all
everything.
wrong. Yeah,
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 it's true. Like you don't forget, and you don't doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt. It just you've learned to accept it. You've gone through the grieving process. And you know what? People grieve differently, man. Yeah, there's
yeah,
no set time that you're gonna be, 1 year and you're gonna be fine. And like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? No, man, everybody grieves differently. Some people get over it quicker, some people get over it not so quick. But you always have to, and it's easier said than done, but look at that silver lining.
Yeah,
There's always a silver lining. And like with Matt, I'm at that point now that I'm just grateful for the time I got to spend with this guy. I was
yeah,
grateful for the experiences I got to have with this guy. Like,
yeah.
I'm grateful for the road time I got to have with him, just having a best friend, and some things are still really hard, like when I come back from Victoria, that's one of the hardest times that I have from doing shows in Victoria, because I drive back, because every time I came back, I would call him on and put him on the speakerphone on the car, and we would talk about our sets. He'd be down in LA at the Comedy Store. I'd be doing hecklers or whatever, and we'd be talking about jokes and laughing and just enjoying each other's company. But like not having a person, so I've actually had to fill that void. Like have a friend. I have a friend. Hey man, can I call you after the show? Just because I like
Yeah.
it honestly, it's super emotional. Like, so there's things and times and places and things that are gonna bring that person up, but you just got to learn how to deal with it. And you know what, be open and have people around you support.
Yeah.
Support is
Yeah.
so important to come through, to help us with our journey.
And
Having
support
friends
looks
that
different to people though. Like support what look a certain way to one person, you look totally different to somebody else. Yes.
100%, and just having a person to talk to. And that's why men, like, I know what to say, but men, we internalize so much, and that's why our suicide rates are so high and our addiction rates are so high. But it's 3 to 1. Suicide 75% males. And I don't know if you knew this, but after a separation or divorce, it's actually 92% of all suicides are male.
Wow.
92%. And there's a reason. And I
Wow.
talked to my counselor, there's a reason behind this, because women, as by nature, and this is super healthy, will generally reach out to their friends, get on the phone, get
Absolutely.
texting, get talking about it. Let's come over, girl. Let's go out for dinner. Let's Netflix and chill, girl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Shit's healthy. That's
Yeah.
healthy. That's what we should be doing. But a man will sit in his garage and drink himself to death.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
I
and
do.
and realize it. And like those days, like even have a joke and say, I'm gonna go cry I'm gonna go and cry in the truck alone like a real man. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's our nature. It's funny. It's not funny. And like we gotta come at that time, man. You know what? It's okay for men to cry. It's
Yes.
okay for men to break down. It's okay for men to talk. It's okay for a man to not be a pussy. To you know what I mean? Suck it up. We don't have to fucking, excuse my language, but
That's
we
all
don't.
right. I understood.
I get emotional over this. We don't
Oh,
have
no,
to.
no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I want you to be emotional because I want people to hear this. The
yeah,
reality is that what you're saying could save lives.
100%. We don't have to suck it up. And you know what? There's like going to a men's meeting when I was going through my stuff and just talking to a group of men, and it doesn't matter. You can have a bad goddamn day at work and talk about that. Or you can talk about losing your family or whatever. It can be from any range, but just getting out there and talking about it is so good for our mental health.
Yeah.
It's what we need, and it's going to stop men from dying.
Yeah. I also note that so many people downtown, that there are incredible, incredible people that we make so many judgments over.
Yeah. Yeah, you just had
And
to
we
old
don't know the pain. We don't know the pain. You're
it's
sharing
that
the
it's that and it's another cliche coming here. You don't ever judge a person until you walk a mile in their shoes.
right on.
You know, there's this is trauma. This is trauma at its finest. You know what I mean? And that's what I
I
really
do.
love. And we should be doing this for our government should be doing this for
Yeah.
everybody. But these indigenous, they do have this new Sultan Laylam in Duncan is doing a treatment program, a 20-bed treatment program, and they're doing substance treatment. And then right when you're done that, you do another, I think it's another 30 days of trauma treatment.
Yes.
Which is like, because if you're not getting to the root of the problem, man, you can clean a person up and everything and get some tools. But if you're not getting to the root of the problem that's making you use, that's you're trying to stuff down that demon. You know what I mean?
I do.
So you made me
I
cry,
do.
Kathy.
I'm happy to make you cry in the most love that I can possibly have for you. And you
Thank you.
know I respect you so much and I always have.
I'm
But I
okay with
love
crying.
it. I love the fact that you're being as vulnerable as you are because I do
Okay.
believe that you're saving lives. I do
Thank,
believe it 100%.
thank you.
100%.
And you know what? I just preached exactly what I'm saying. It's okay to cry. I'm like, man, I cry at least once a week. And then I feel good. It's an emotional outlet. And you know,
Yeah.
we're okay. We're okay to cry. We're human.
You know, I think parents have trained crying out of men.
Mm.
When we were young, you're absolutely right. When coming to our generation, right? When we were
Oh,
younger, our parents told us, suck it up, deal with it. What are you, as you put out earlier? It's harder for me to say that
yeah,
the feminine part piece, than you can say that I would rather, say cat. Right?
yeah,
There's like I could never call my son that in a million years. It's
yeah.
not, I'm not comfortable with that. But that was a generation of time when people would be very hard on men for being emotional.
Totally.
The world is changing. We're seeing
Yes.
so much change and knowing that we're human beings. And as human beings, we have a variety of emotions, and every emotion is powerful.
It is powerful. I used to, that's what I have a joke about that. You know what? We used to eat at dinner for dessert at my dinner table.
Yeah,
My feelings. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah,
And there's truth to it. It's just like, yeah,
such truth.
and it's a different generation, but that's that time's changing. It's such a hard time because we want to still men still want to have that feeling of independence and still being a man. We still need to feel like a man, but you to know that it's just a different vibe going on now. We have to have that vibe that what men are human too. We're gonna have feelings and we're gonna have bad days. You know what I mean? And I like what you
I do.
said that you deal with things quicker because I do that too. And like I always give myself if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a mental health day, I'm gonna take a mental health day. But if I'm having 2 or 3 mental health days, I'm gonna start asking questions and like and being like, how do I get out of this? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I
Like
do exactly. I do.
if it's weeks, you really need to reach out. But if you know what, we're allowed to just have a day that hey, I want to sit on the couch and look at the wall and do absolutely nothing, and that's not feeling good today. And you know what? If employers will accept that. My employers are great. I know. And if they don't, get a new employer.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree
Like
with you more.
honestly,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You shouldn't sacrifice being a soulful human being because of work,
no.
because you need a paycheck. It's not worth it to your spirit. And in the long run, it's more destructive. I'm going to take us back a few years though, because I don't remember if I asked you this part, and bless you. I don't remember if I asked this in our last interview, so forgive me if I double ask it. But what took you to comedy in the first place? Like, did you just wake up one day and think I'm a funny guy? Like what
That's
happened?
funny stuff. Well, this story actually it's pretty, and I tell people I don't break it out all the time at the detox, but I break it out and I don't break it out to brag, but to inspire people.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
2009, I first went to detox, and then 2010 I went to treatment. And a year after, I've always been funny. I've always been the funny guy, and I and entertain my friends and whatever. And I stayed up in Courtney. I did my treatment in Courtney, and I stayed up there for a year. I was gonna tell a little bit more of my thing here. And I stayed in a room. I rented a room up there, and I had nothing. I had an air mattress. I had a TV with tinfoil on the ears so I could watch playoff hockey. And I got a job building houses, framing houses for like $15 an hour. But I was so happy because
Yeah,
I was healthy. I was getting my life back together, and I was like feeling really, really good. So I stayed up there for about almost a year, and then I came back, and my friend took me for a drive, and he said, "Peter," he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "You're the funniest dude I know."
yeah,
He goes, "You're ridiculous. You've always wanted to do stand up." He goes, "You need to go give it a shot before you're old, and you have, because there's nothing worse than growing old and having resentments or
totally true.
regrets. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like having regrets that you should have tried. Oh, I could have been the best football player in the world. You know what I mean? But anyways, he goes, at least just try it once for yourself. And I said, you know what? I go, you're right. So these guys, it was so funny because a week later, these dudes came from Prince George, and they put in the paper that they were doing a comedy workshop to start comedians so they could go on stage. It was like a week later, it all worked out together. And
Universe conspires to help out.
totally. And like that, like I was saying, when you take things out of your life, especially like addiction, because they're so consuming, you need to replace it with something.
Yes.
And so I replaced it. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, man. And I went to the dude's house every Wednesday for a month and wrote jokes with them. Some of them they're like, that's not gonna work. That's not they're like, that's ridiculous. But I still stuck with it. Some of those jokes I still use to this day, but
Mm.
I went and did it on stage, and I blew the roof off the place, and I'm like, and I caught the bug right away, and I just got obsessed with it. And instead of,
Mm.
you know, I would go start going down to Victoria 3 times a week on my own dime because we didn't have much of a senior. I'd go to karaoke's in Nanaimo. I'd be like, hey, can I do 5 minutes of stand up? And anywhere I could just do it, I just got obsessed with it and just
Mhm.
writing and just, yeah, I just fell in love with comedy, and then it just went from there. And yeah, it was cool. And then went to a festival and won this funny fest I went and started working out in Alberta 2011 too, and then I went to this. They had this competition called the Funny Fest. It's a festival I still go to it every year in Calgary. They fly me out, but they had talent search. And in
Yeah.
2013, I actually won the whole thing
Oh,
out of like
wow.
all Western Canada. It was super cool, and I that night I remember I won it, and the headliner on stage was Matt Dillon.
Wow.
And he saw me, he gave me his number, and we became best friends.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it all kind of interluded together.
What
He's
a
like,
wonderful, wonderful.
huh.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
forget that. He's like, he goes, man, you're really funny. He goes, just give me a call. And I was like, my God, great Matt Dillon. Like this guy writes with Norm Macdonald, you know, he
Yeah.
wrote, he passed away. And I'm just like I've
Wow.
watched Maddie's 1 hour specials on the Calling Never, and this guy's like, he thinks I'm funny. And then I
Wow.
ended up touring all over the country with him.
Well, we're lucky to have had Matt in your life so that you could bring the joy to all of us
Yeah.
all over Vancouver Island and across the country. And what I'm really most delighted with is a very selfish reason. I'm just really glad to know you
Oh,
and to be your friend. And it means a lot to me that you come on my show. And it means a lot to me that you know, are so open and transparent and you allow people to walk with you. And you give courage to a whole lot of people as a result of it. And I just really want to thank you for that. It's meant the world to me to call you my friend.
but vice versa, same with you. When you ask me to do this, I don't even hesitate. I actually don't do these a lot. I get asked to do a few, and I'm just kind of like try to get out of them. But It's a good vibe, and I like what you're doing, and I think you're just a great person. So yeah, I'm very proud to call you a friend too.
We are almost finished the program today, unfortunately, but as you know, I always like to leave the program with the life lessons. So just a couple things before we get that from you. Number one, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. I'm Kathy Holmes, happy to be your host. And I'm always, always so happy to bring really great people to you. Today's program had Peter Hudson. What a privilege and a pleasure to have him on the Zoom booth or in the Zoom booth to be able to put this together for you. So we do hope that you enjoy it. And also, we do really want to support you, Peter. So how can people find you now? Do you have a website? Do you have anything like that? I forgot to ask earlier, but just out of curiosity, or
I
just
have a
to follow you on TikTok or?
Sure. I got Pete Hudson 5 to 10 on TikTok and 5 to 10 Bro on YouTube, and my Facebook page 5 to 10 on that one, and that's Peter Hudson Comedy. But yeah, I'm really gonna get into some 5 to 10, so that's gonna kind of be my thing this year. So, and performing at the Comedy Store in LA. I'm
And
gonna do that
performing
too.
at the Comedy Store in LA. How wonderful
Yeah,
is
and
that?
have that happen.
You should give us those dates. Maybe I can fly down and watch you.
That
I'd
would
love
be
to do that.
cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. So let me
It'd be
know when
super
you're
cool.
going down, even if it's
Well, for
offline.
sure.
Yeah, for
I will.
sure.
I won't be headlining there, but I'll be performing.
Who cares? You're there. You're going across the country. And
100%.
so if you're gonna go wherever you're gonna go, I think it's
I'm
wonderful
sure
to
it's the
find some.
journey. Thank you.
Exactly. It's the journey. So having said that, that's almost a life lesson in itself. But could you, if to give this out there to people, we've talked a lot about, being a dad, we've talked about being a comedian, we talked a little bit about mental health and addiction, what's going on with the unhoused, like just what the world is like right now. And if you could imbibe, some lasting message that you want people to walk away with, what might that look like for you?
Um, just I always tell people that even it's a metaphor. Even if you're cleaning your house 5 minutes a day, you're still house cleaning. Baby steps. You're just doing something. Do something every day, move ahead, try not to move backwards. And that can go as far as just making your bed in the morning. You know what I mean? Get up, make your bed in the morning. Because you can have the worst
Yes.
goddamn day of your life, everything can go wrong, but you'll come back and be like, you know what? I did something today, and I
Yeah.
did something positive. So, and just remember, we all deserve health, happiness, and love. So try to be easy on people and be easy on yourself. That's all I need to say.
Well, darling, I think you said it perfectly. I don't think we need to add to it or anything else. I think exactly what you
Awesome.
said is what we need to do. What a great brand new New Year's resolution. Be happy, be kind, take care of yourself, take care of each other.
That's right.
Um, Peter, thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll see you next time.
That's right.
Thanks again. All right, everybody. That's it for Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. Hey, listen, we can't wait to see you next week, next Monday, 1 o'clock. Don't forget to tune in, and don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Thanks so much for being with us on CHLY 101.7 FM. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.